Hello everyone, welcome back to the Preppers Fireside, and today I'm joined by Barry, the brown coat prepper. How you doing, Barry?
Very well, thank you, sir.
Brian, of course, is always here, my right-hand man. How you doing, Scottish Prepper 73?
All good, mate. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Wouldn't think I was 21, hard paper round, but you know, it is what it is. And
I
we
would
are
not.
joined we are joined by our guest, Steve from Rift Security. How you doing, Steve?
I am doing very well, thank you. And happy
Excellent.
birthday. I would pay you a compliment, but I wouldn't mean it.
let's not start out on lies. Why not? Loads of people in the chat already. Thank you all for being here. I'm scrolling up a mile, so I can't really welcome you all, but it's great to see so many green names in there, members. And big thank you to Kurs10, who put a £10 super chat in saying happy birthday, UK Urban Prepper. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Miss Worms in there, our awesome moderator, keep you all in check. So today is all about mistakes, bad habits, and all of our cock-ups. So get ready, gentlemen. Could be a long one. So we'll go around the table to begin with, and yeah, we'll just pick one. So Barry, a common mistake or a mistake you've made as a prepper to start us off.
Not knowing where everything is.
Organisation.
Yeah. It's got to be a key factor. I mean, you sort of acquire stuff, put it away, forget you've got it, buy a duplicate, do the same again, end up with 3 or 4 of the same thing. Organisation, that's got to be a big part of any prepper's repertoire as such.
Yeah. Brian, your organisation's getting somewhere now. How is it a key factor for you?
Yeah. My biggest mistake at the start was trying to do everything at once.
Yeah.
No being realistic.
Yeah. Run before you walk. Steve, do you have a organisation list, or do you keep stock of what you've got, or is it just all thrown in a big cupboard somewhere?
Yes to all of those. Yeah, I'm guilty of all of it, especially in the beginning. It was trying to do everything at once, money flying in several different directions, and then just having lots of stuff, but no real plan to put things together how they should have been. And sometimes now I've got to go back and remind myself, don't get too excited. Stick with what you decided you were going to do. Ignore Mike's emails of things on discount. So if you've decided that April, May, and June is communications, don't buy stuff that are not related to it.
Ignore the Raven Forge special offers is what you're saying, right?
Ban them. Don't go there.
By the way, at the moment, it's 2 free gifts, and if you buy something, you get a chance to win a Viking axe and a shield. There you go.
What was that? What did you say? I didn't hear you.
Steve, prepper mistakes. Anything you can think of off the top of your head? A common prepper mistake?
I would say, and I think everyone's guilty of it at whatever place you're at on your journey, is getting swamped, like overstimulated in stuff, because we can take in what I just read that. We can be bombarded by news of various fake or real, let's put it that way, and it's easy to get swamped and overstimulated.
Yeah Cool. Brian, do you want to pick something out the list before we go through it? Is the list I've got? What's a common mistake?
It's like going to the gym, mate, when you start out. There's always somebody bigger, lifting more, looks better, younger. Same with prepping. Somebody's always got more shit, better organised, all of that kind of crap. And you think there's no point. There's always a point.
Yeah. I'll never get to that level, so I'm not even going to start, is the mentality we've seen sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So I've got a list, and so I've got 2 lists, basically. Common mistakes and bad habits. We'll do the common mistakes first. One we've kind of touched on, which Steve mentioned, was focusing only on doomsday scenarios. So really focusing on like the doom and gloom and the Day X is upon us, Red Alert, and all that we've seen common, and people prepping for only extreme situations. Is that how it comes across to everyone, Barry? Do you think that it's always for a zombie apocalypse, or it's for, you know, the end of the world as we know it? Barry?
Yeah, that seems to be like the main sort of view of the general public. You know, we're all tin foil hat wearing lunatics, but you know, we're not. You know, we follow them. We see what's going on, and you know, we weed out the rubbish from the true information, and that's about it.
Yeah. Steve, do you think people should be focusing on the smaller stuff, the more likely to happen,
I think there's a bit of a dilemma.
The big stuff?
Yeah, I think so, because it's easy to say, oh, that's going on over there, it won't affect me. Now, it might affect you in like 6 to 8 or 12 months. But if you live somewhere that floods regularly, say like every 2 years, I would be more concerned about that than I would if, in reality, if India and Pakistan are throwing insults and all sorts at each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's my perspective on it.
Yeah. Brian, when you started, was it Doomsday scenarios you started on, or was it the more smaller stuff that's in your control?
It was the smaller stuff. Basically, I'd got snowed in and had nothing for the kids, and that's what we should be sticking on, the things that are likely to happen, like Steve and that were saying. But we don't, because we like to be scared. People like horror films. And let's be honest, in one level, every one of us is actively itching for something to go tits up just to try stuff. Let's be honest.
Not at all. Not at all. Not that kind of person, Brian.
Or monitors, you know, solar flares non-stop. Yeah, all right, mate.
Just because you're watching out for it doesn't mean you're hoping for it, Steve.
All right, then.
Why have I invited somebody else on the fireside that calls out my shit? It's just I've got enough people doing that.
Probably because I thought that Elvis might come back if they turn on the Large Hadron Collider and have a successful, you know, interdimensional portal with Elvis.
I mean, yeah, common mistake.
Yeah. See, this is what we mean by getting swamped by the bigger stuff when you should concentrate on the little stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you can focus. I think once you've got to a certain level, right? If flood is your main risk, if you live near a floodplain, once you've prepped for that, that's when you can start looking at that bigger stuff, right? So it's not saying dismiss it; it's just saying prioritize, right? The next one I've got is stockpiling without a plan. Now, I've been guilty of this because. Brian's looking around thinking which tins he's getting rid of next month. Lights just flickered.
Oh, did they?
Oh, well.
Maybe a haircut.
What are you doing?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, for fuck's sake, we've got a lag. Jesus Christ,
Happy birthday to Mikey.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Open the door.
It's all right. They're all singing at different times and anything anyway. She opened the door and all the candles blew out. But yeah, I've got.
There you go.
There you go. I've got a birthday muffin. Look at that. Thank you very much. Right, now bugger off.
Cheers, dude. Cheers.
Thank you. Right, everyone stop doing things underhanded behind my back. I'm not liking it, all right?
Cheers.
Cheers.
You were a few candles missing. That should have looked like a Bunsen burner.
The budget only stretched to a cupcake. So
The cupcake should have looked like it was in fire, mate.
Anyway, right, back to it. Thank you very much. She'll eat that cake now. She's took it through there because she'll just enjoy. Stockpiling without a plan. So yeah, I was saying I've been guilty of this. I've bought like loads of tins thinking that tin is a meal. And then when you actually look at it and how many calories in it and stuff like that, it's not really a meal. So you've got to plan it a lot better. Barry, have you planned things out, or did you just start buying?
I kind of started to plan things out originally. Made loads of lists of everything, you know, I want to get this, I want to get that, watch a few videos, add it to the list and stuff like that. And then somewhere down the line, it just went all pear-shaped, and I found I got loads of stuff I either didn't need, stuff that I did need, that I needed to get. Yeah, best laid plans of mice and men, mate. They went straight out the window. But
Yeah.
Shiny headlight syndrome.
Yeah.
You know?
Does it matter, Brian, if you're stockpiling without a plan to begin with? If people just starting buying loads of stuff, or should they plan it out?
You should always plan it out, but it depends how much free cash you've got. Because if you've got no plan, it's like trying to put out a fire by flinging 50s at it. Yeah, it'll work, but it's going to cost a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Steve, did you plan, or did you just start building up a stockpile in general?
I began building up a stockpile in general at first. I didn't have like tons of it. I think I had about 2 weeks worth. And then I said to myself, right, hold on, we're going with this. How big is it going to get? What's your real budget? Because other stuff's got to be paid for. And then I slowed down for a bit and looked at where am I going to put it as well. That's the main thing. So then I had to put the brakes on and I wouldn't say start from the beginning, but get the pen and paper out and get control of it before I lost all control. I was sitting on tins of everything without a sofa.
And to do it again, or to advise somebody who's new to it, would you say do that to begin with? Just get a pen and paper before you even start.
Brian's pile of shame over here, and his board. Got to pay attention to Brian's board. I would say starting again, or anyone starting out, I would go with look at your budget first of all, because there's way too many channels out there will tell you to empty your bank account, max out your credit cards. Calm down, plain and simple, right? Plain and simple. If your budget is £5 a week, or £5 a month, or £5,000 a month, work within it, plain and simple. If you have got an extra day's worth of food for you and yours, that's a fantastic head start. If that's what you can do a week or a month, so be it. Don't feel bad about it. You're starting. You're doing something about it.
Yeah.
And it will come together. Just stick to the plan, stay within your budget, and before you know it, you've got plenty in the cupboard. You'll be doing all right.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Taffy Nige, for a £20. I assume it's a super sticker. I can't see the actual sticker, but thank you very much. Much appreciated for that. Just trying to see if I miss any comments. How do you plan it out? Trini Weenie says, by day or week, etc. Brian, do you want to answer that with relation to your board?
You start out by day, then by week, then by month, then by months, because like Steve was saying there, sorry, it boils down to money at the start. It boils down to money all the time, let's be honest, and space. So for me, I do it on calories and tins and kit, short term, medium term, long term. And I aimed for a week, I aimed for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then a month, then another month, and then 6 months. So
and never stops. And never stops.
I'm running out of space, mate.
Max out your credit cards and buy Mike a birthday drink. That's an expensive drink. Good evening, all. Hope you've all had a great weekend. Mohammed's in. It's good to see you. What's this purple crown crap next to my names? It's a new YouTube feature. It's to do with interaction. I've no idea. It's not something I turn on or off, so you can figure it out. Right, so next one, which is very similar. I'll do them both at the same time, actually. It's not having enough water and not rotating food and water. I feel like water's heavily neglected or underestimated by a lot of people. And they've got like a case of 6 2-litre bottles and they think I'm sorted for water. But I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it, Brian, because of storage space, right?
It is difficult. I had the little bottles of water, like you were saying. Then you realise how much water it takes to make a pot of rice or a pot of pasta. All the stuff we'll be using as meal multipliers. Never mind drinking, getting your brew on, and cleanliness and washing your pots and shit. So I bought 3 55-gallon drums and filled them. So there's 165 gallons of water. And that takes up a shitload of space. And even at that, you think, oh, that'll last me forever. No, really, it really won't. 4 months.
Yeah. And Barry, storage is always an issue for, I think, a lot of people in the UK. So it's better to look for a constant source, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm lucky enough to be relatively close to 3 sources of water, all within walking distance. Should the main supply dry up, and obviously then you've got to look at your means of purifications, etc., boiling, tablets, filtration. But yeah, I've got to agree with what's been said so far. Water is a vastly underlooked at prep, and it should be one of, if not the most important prep, because without water you're toast. That's that.
Yeah. Steve, what's your water plan? Because you're quite new to the channel to everyone. Could you share with us what your thoughts are on the water side?
Well, I live in Wales, so I'm tripping over water. It's either coming from the sky or it's just out there by a couple of yards. But in reality, do you really want to traipse up and down a river all day? Whether you've got a filter system, or you use a chemical method or boiling or whatever, it's got to be quite. I would think it'd be quite dire if I've got to keep traipsing up and down to the river all day. That's going to get really old. For me personally, I'm going to lose a sense of humor on that pretty quick. Plus, and it weighs. I mean, how much can you carry in reality? So, yes, you're going to want it for drinking. There's no point saying, "Oh, we'll be all right for a couple of days." Dehydration is a massive problem. You cannot think straight when you're dehydrated, and you make mistakes. So it needs to be done, even if it's just to keep yourself hydrated. You can say, yeah, I've got loads of wet wipes and all the rest of it. Wet wipes are fine for a while. But it's nothing compared to even a bird bath, a stripped down wash is a lot better than death by wet wipes after a week. So
Death by wet wipes.
I mean, if anybody's been to a festival or worked a festival, there's a lot of people use the same shower. Flip-flops, that's all I've got to say. Wet wipes get old because you sweat. And you don't have to be running around like an idiot working and all the rest of it. You can just be sat in your backyard. You're going to sweat. And that's going to get old after a couple of days. So space, yes, because, it's British houses. We don't all live in sadly, I've got to break this to anybody from California. All our houses are not the size of Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
So, everything's got to fit somewhere. So you've got to be realistic with it, haven't you?
Yeah, somebody mentioned water butts there, Andy GB, which are good if you've got the room for them in the garden. And collecting rainwater is definitely a good one. And in abundance, like Steve says, in Wales and in Scotland. So drawing the... You are?
We get a little bit of water.
Just a little bit, yeah. A little deluge as I was setting off today. It was terrible. Is drawing the line at buying gas masks and hazmat suits a mistake or just being realistic, says Polonium. This goes on to the prepping for Doomsday or prepping for scenarios, right? Barry, what's your thoughts? Would you buy gas masks, hazmat suits and stuff like that? Or is that just a step too far for you?
No, I've got one.
Yeah?
Yeah, got one.
Just one. Doesn't matter about the wife, just you.
Well, it's struggling to find one that fits.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got one. So if anybody needs to go outside, it's going to be me.
Yeah, and you got to think of decontamination if you're thinking of that as well. So it's worth thinking of. Steve, drawing the line, buying gas masks, hazmat suits. I mean, I think we briefly had a laugh and a joke on Discord about the dog one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a carrier bag with a hole in the end. To be honest, if I lived somewhere like close to a large chemical plant or a nuclear power plant, something that was a realistic thing, I would definitely give it serious thought. Or if I worked at one of those type locations, definitely.
Yeah.
If I'm sat here and I'm thinking, right, I'm really confident I've got all this, and this, that, and food and this and that. It's all right saying to yourself, right, I've got £1,000 to spare. I'm going to buy best hazmat suit, spot on, tailor-fitted gas, respirator, all the rest of it. Ask yourself this: how are you going to get wherever you're going? Say you're going back to your house. How are you going to keep your house sealed up tight to the poisons or whatever you want to call it outside? Then you've got to get in and out. There's no good just walking in the front door because you're doing it, like you said, decontamination area. Mm-hmm. If you're just going to say, well, I'll just have one clean room in my house, how are you going to clean the rest of your house after said emergency is done?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to sit on my sofa on a big cloud of radiated crap. And I go, oh, well, that was a wasted 3 weeks living in the cupboard under the stairs. You've got to sit down. It sounds horrible, but you've got to take yourself through these dark places. How am I going to do it? So I live near a honest to goodness credible issue. Yes, I would. And I'd have to do a lot of thinking. How am I going to seal up my house? Where am I going to go? All the rest of it. So that's how I would honestly look at it.
Yeah.
Well, good point.
Brian, you've often just written yourself off if it came to nuclear, right? You've said openly that you're just going to stand there and go.
It boils, like Steve was saying, it boils down to how you risk assess things. So now I've got gas masks. I got enough gas masks for the whole family. Unlike Barry, who's basically going to bury his missus in the garden. But that's fine, Barry. It's fine. I'm not going to judge you, mate. You should have, my opinion, food, water, some torches. You're more likely to be a bit short on food because the shops are short, cyber attacked or bad weather. You're more likely to have a power cut, so you need torches, than you are to have a noddy suit and a gas mask and drinking straws and disposable filters. Prep for the likely things and then prep for the comfort things. Buying a gas mask will give you comfort, even though you're no practiced with it, even though you'll probably never ever need it in your lifetime. But get it after you bought all the other shit.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, sound advice across the board. I mean, my side of it is there's no credible threat really where I am or where I'm going to like that wouldn't be like Brian says, you just vaporized. But I think it's a luxury that I would get once I think I was fully prepped on everything else. Ration Nerd in the house. Good to see you, Ration Nerd. Miss Worm will post a link to his channel if you've not seen it. He's just had a nice 20-year-old ration on there that didn't agree with him very well, so worth a watch.
Like a bear.
And obviously he's a wordsmith with how eloquent he puts things, as you see here. Thank you, Ration Nerd. Really appreciate you being here. Appreciate all the birthday messages coming in as well. I can't get to all of them, guys. Trying to keep up with the comments is a nightmare. If you have any questions, put it in block capitals or use the supers. That's the options, just so I can see it. Taffy Nige, gas mask, etc. is a mistake. Move to Pembrokeshire is the answer, says Taffy Nige. There you go. Right, before we go on, sorry, gents, I'm going to hijack this for a minute. I did a video on this, which was the Wooben G5 like EDC flashlight, which is a cool little bit of kit. I've got the green one. It's attached to my bag, so I'll be keeping that. But this one is the draw that we're going to give away. So the computer has randomly selected all the comments that put hashtag UK Urban Prepper. So we're going to hit start and see who wins this. This is the draw for it, and I'll tag them in afterwards. I'm trying to click on the screen instead of that. There we go. Brum Prep. There you go.
Hey, well done.
There we go. Brum Prep. That's yours. Get in touch with me. I know you're on Discord, so just send me a message with an address and I'll get it posted out to you. And thank you for everyone else that entered that. So there we go. Whee! It was very anticlimactic, really, but you know. Should have had a fanfare or something going on. Right. Now we scare away the 117 people, gentlemen. Now we scare them all away. Common mistake, ignoring physical fitness. Right? And we know...
I'm out here.
Yeah. And this doesn't have to be ultra runners, marathon runners, stuff like that. This can be just general health altogether. Brian, you said you're out of here, but it is something that a lot of people just dismiss, right?
It is. All joking aside, I was very fit up until about 4 years ago. And then I turned into a lard monster. But if you... I mean, there's so many bits, Chris. If you're not physically fit and everybody's going to bug out, right? Everybody you talk to's got a bug out bag that would choke a horse, right? A pit pony couldn't carry the fucker. But 20 stone, Bob, sitting in his chair, chain smoking all these days, has bought this thing from Team U. He's going to sling it to his shoulder and walk 60 miles across the border up to Scotland and climb a mountain. No, you're not, Bob. You're going to die of a heart attack at the end of the street. Let's be realistic.
Yeah, and it might not always be realistic to be trained for that. If you are Bob, you know, in this situation, you might not have to train to be an ultra athlete. You might just have to change your plan, right? You've got a plan to what you can do. Steve, ignoring physical fitness. Lots of preppers get scared by the words. Is it something that comes into your plans at all?
Yes, I've took mine a lot more seriously in the last 12 months. I'm not trying to run ultra marathons at the moment because I will go to the gym before going to work, so I'm often on a time schedule. So I'm not looking to be built like a beast or anything like that. Just able to carry my own, and that's it. So I started out looking at military physical fitness, what today's standards are and whatnot. I'm a lot faster and a lot stronger now a year later. I'm much happier. And I think it was also for me was I am in my 40s and having children. My wife and I are first of our children. My wife is younger than me. She is not in her 40s and she's watching this. So, but I wanted to make sure that when my kids were growing, I would be able to keep up and do things. Not a case of, oh, we can't ask dad because he blows like, you know, he's got on his exhaust and he can't play football for 5 minutes or whatever the activity is. I can't, nobody can stop aging, but you can make it easier on yourself. And that was the thing for me. There's no, and again, there's no point lying to yourself. So many people say, oh, my adrenaline will carry me through. No, it won't. Adrenaline is for a short space of time. Hollywood lies to us, okay? We can't fix our lives and become millionaires after an hour and a half. I tried, it's a lie.
You obviously weren't playing the correct montage music when you were doing it. This is what the key is.
You may be onto something there. There may be some scientific facts behind that one. But yeah, be realistic. It takes time. It might be changing your diet. It could be tackling the monster of smoking, because that is a difficult thing to tackle. Might be the booze, might be whatever. Each day as it comes, if you try to build this phenomenal goal, like you're going to win Mr. Olympia next year, calm yourself down. You're gonna be very upset because Brian's already won it, so we're all fucked.
Yeah.
but be realistic with it. Just be realistic. Small changes, and it will add up, because a lot of it is your mentality as well.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to sit here and eat this.
Yeah. You've earned it. You've earned
Send me money.
You've
I'm
earned
telling the truth. Send me money.
it.
I couldn't hold it in any longer. It's been killing me.
Barry, have you, physical fitness come into it for you?
Yeah, it should do. Not as much as I would like it to be, though. I've got a long-standing health problem that rears its ugly head every now and again and basically wipes me out. So obviously I've got to be careful as to what I do regarding trying to get fit. I'm on my feet all day for 12 hours as it is anyhow. So walking or anywhere is not an issue for me. It's nothing. And I'm lugging bloody great heavy bags around with me all day as well. So that's not a problem. If I had to run anywhere, now that would be a completely different story. But yeah, health needs to be addressed, definitely. Mine's not as good as it should be. And I've got to improve it.
Do you think that's a common mistake then, Barry, that people who have ongoing issues, like if you've got back problems and stuff like that, they don't put that into their plans? They don't, as soon as SHTF happens, they'll all turn into John Rambo, right?
They will do for about 10 seconds before the back goes out, because as soon as they try lifting anything hard, they're just going to keel over or freeze on the spot, and that's it. It's game over. Yeah.
Thank you, Rasher Nerd, who's gifted 10 memberships to the channel. Thank you very much appreciated there. Thank you. And he's gone. There you go. And left. Came, spent, and left. Brian, you're familiar.
For the benefit of my wife in the chat, I have no idea what he's talking about.
Of course. Everyone's
a library, not strip club.
Right. Over-reliance on technology. This is... Roll your eyes. Coming to you, Brian. Depending too much on GPS, electronic devices, online information, offline backups, or manual alternatives. It's a common mistake. You do get the power banks. We all know your power bank obsession. One or two. Mrs. Scottish Pepper in the chat will testament to it. But you have beyond power banks, right? You've got the candles, you've got the backups like that. So do you think it's a common mistake that people get like a Delta 2 and then just think, I'm sorted, I don't really have to worry about anything else?
Yes and no. I think if they're doing it what would be the right way, you would have the bag of candles first, then some torches, then get a power bank. Right?
Yeah.
Don't buy a power bank and then add in some candles and torches. We're going to be arse for elbow then, in my humble opinion. Plus, it's a lot more money. Yeah, it's easy to buy a bag of candles through B&M Home Store for a £5.
Yeah.
Than it is to spend 500 quid on a Delta 2.
Five of the candles. He must be getting the posh candles.
There's a few there.
You got there's your tea lights. Nice. Barry, over-reliance on technology. That's not a candle. That's not a candle. Please don't show that again.
You like that candle. You want that candle, mate. Presenting like a panda.
Devolved already. Devolved. Barry, are you reliant on tech and backup tech?
Yeah, I've got like the small power banks. I've got a large power bank. I've got candles, etc. But also, as you say, sort of like relying on too much on the modern tech. It's all right to stroll into your kitchen on a morning, flick a switch, and get that coffee going. But when the power's gone and your power banks are flat, if you still want your coffee, you've got to grind it yourself. Mm-hmm. So I've got a manual coffee grinder. I've got a manual hand mincer that clamps to the desk. You know, that's sort of the old sort of school tools you'd see back in the 1900s, that kind of thing, which would be in everybody's kitchen then, which has mostly disappeared now. you know what? If you can find them at car boots and stuff, snap them up because they could be worth your weight in gold.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of how I center my preps. I've got a lot of tools. I've got manual tools, like a manual drill and stuff like that.
Speaking of tools, Brian.
I was just going to say, be careful if you're taking Barry's advice there and you go somewhere and say, I'm looking to get hand cranked by a mincer. It might end up a bad experience for you. Just going to throw that out there. But context is everything here.
Yeah. As soon as I said it, I knew somebody was going to pick up on it again.
Oh, look, there's a bargain. I went into this place in that room and I got hand cranked by a mincer for £5.
That's that 10 points I was talking about there, Mike.
Welcome to the demonetization stream, as usual. Steve, technology is technology a key part of your preps at all, or?
To a degree, yes. Because let's be absolutely honest about it. Doesn't matter if we're part of the generation that was around before the internet and smartphones and stuff. All of us, to a degree, are addicted. Use it to make a living or not, or subconsciously we reach for our smartphone. So let's be realistic. Yes, because whether you're using your battery-powered radio to listen for alerts or news bulletins or whatever, if you can charge up, turn on your, let's say your tablet, you've got films or whatever pre-downloaded or on a data stick, might be for yourself, your loved ones, your kids, whatever, because they're growing up with it. And we've had it in our lives for 20 plus years. So saying, I'll be fine, I'll just read a book and play Snakes and Ladders. That ain't going to last long. Let's be honest.
No.
So,
Monopoly can break families up.
Oh, yeah. There isn't one of them in this house. I tell you that now.
Monkey Wrench in the house, who also has a YouTube channel, prepping and repairing things and things like that. It's funny, he came in at just the right time. We're talking about the films and stuff on the data sticks. When I spoke to Monkey Wrench, he has this as a tradable commodity as well. Because, I mean, USB sticks full of music and stuff like that is a tradable commodity in a full Teotihuacan situation. So it's a cool idea to mention as well.
You could link that one, Mike, the butt plug, the USB butt plug that you market with all the stuff on it. Put it in Pod Storage 200. Where's that one?
It's a Survivor. It's a Survivor. I think I must have left it in the bedroom next to the KY.
Probably sat on it, mate.
He probably sat on it.
He sat on it. That's why he's smiling. Happy birthday. I made that noise out loud again. Sorry.
Where's that music coming from? Yeah.
Right. No. Yes. USB Survivor memory stick he's talking about. Nothing else.
Not the USB enhancement plug. No.
Another.
Every time he farts, he buys a TV.
I'm trying to move this on. Another common mistake.
Technology. Can you imagine sitting there and you're going scanning for devices? What the? Is this you? No. I'm done. That's it. I'm not saying any more. I'm done.
Right. Not involving family or household. It's down as a common prepper mistake. It's also very difficult sometimes to involve family and household and stuff like that. Brian, you've said often it's often like not very helpful trying to train the kids and stuff like that. I can't use your exact words because I don't think it's appropriate, but I'm sure it's not been very successful with the kids.
No, I'm going to say something that will probably upset a few in the younger generation. That I think it is a generational thing that somebody else will do it, somebody else will fix it. It's not my job, it's not my problem. And that's just how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else is going to make sure you get water, somebody else is going to make sure the power's on. It's somebody else's responsibility. Well, it's not. But, well, in this case, it's my responsibility because they're my children.
Yeah. But do you think people that don't get like their family involved at all and they're just doing it as their own thing, is that a mistake? or is it just the
think
way
it's-
they?
I think it's a mistake not to try. I think it's very difficult to achieve because you'll have heard that a million times. I'm not doing that. I'll just come to you if there's a problem.
Yeah.
That's the normal answer you get. No, I don't need to buy that. I'll just come to your house.
Yeah. Barry, keeping preparedness to yourself, or failing to communicate it to your household. I mean, if you're not home when it happens, it's going to be a massive detriment, right? They need to know some of the stuff, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both the wife and myself, we've got an agreement in place that if anything kicks off and we're not together, we're away from home, first port of call, make your way home.
Mm-hmm.
Get back home first, wait for the other person to turn up. We know how long it should take to get back home from the various locations. Anything outside that time scale, that's when we start to put other plans into motion as to move on to a second location in case the first has been compromised, etc. Yeah, communication is definitely key. You know, you've got to sit and have that talk along with your loved ones, even if they don't want to listen.
Yeah,
you know, it's difficult. I mean, you know, Brian, example with his kids. You know, you know, sometimes it's like knocking your head against the wall, but you've got to persevere.
Yeah, at least they know it in the back of their mind somewhere. It'll be there that, oh yeah, I vaguely remember this.
Yeah. Even if a little bit sinks in, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, Steve, Mrs. Rift is watching, you said. Is she a prepper as well?
Yes, because certain things over the years have helped her wake up to stuff, quite simply. I used to hit her over the head with it, something rotten, but, you know, why would you listen to me? I'm a smelly boy. I know nothing. But over time, various things have gone on, and we've sat down. So, what do you make of that? I say, well, I wouldn't really like it if it happened to me. Okay, and then let the conversation evolve from there, and then action happens after that. So I mean, we have regular conversations about various things because I think you have to at the end of the day. Because if you don't talk about various things, no plan will even spark. Nothing will happen if you don't talk about it. We were talking the other week about the power going down in Spain, all over the entire country. What? You know, mind blowing. To me, it was. I mean, I thought flipping heck. And then when we learned that water was not flowing within a couple of hours.
Yeah.
What the heck will we do about that? And I said, well, hang on a minute, love. If power's gone out throughout the UK, just gone. Doesn't matter why. It's just not there. What are we going to do? Well, if I'm all the way over there and you're over here, we can try and call each other and stuff, but the mobile phone networks are going to be jammed from here in the next week. So they'll probably crash out, for example. And they've only got battery power for X amount of time. And that battery power is going to run down real quick when millions of people are still trying to slam texts and WhatsApp through or phone calls. So this is what we'll do. Let's get home, basically, wherever we are. Just go on. We'll worry about. Well, we've got a job after. Hey, look, we'll worry about that later.
Yeah, definitely.
So you've got to have the conversations.
Yeah, go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, I've just seen a comment by XP, and they were saying you can have all the plans in the world, etc. But what happens when you're? Yeah, there you go. That's the comment. And
I'd look at that as well.
It's a really valid point. I mean, for myself, the wife and I are quite lucky. We tend to go back to the same place. She's been going to the same place on holiday for years, even before I met her, and we know the area quite well, and we've actually got locations we can go to if we're on holiday and the worst comes to the worst.
Yeah.
It's something a lot of people won't think about.
I think this is what, I mean, there's another, it's in the habits thing, but it kind of centers around prioritizing skills and mental skills over stuff, right? Because at any point it could happen, you could be away from said stuff. So you need to be able to have something about you to be able to forage, to be able to scavenge, to be able to get home, to be able to improvise, etc. So it definitely says something about the skills. It's a very good point as well. Steph said my partner doesn't think he needs to prepare till shit hits the fan. He believes prepping is overkill and paranoid to an extent. The problem is when shit hits the fan, that's when you're going to be fighting the crowds to get the water that's been jacked up in price, and potentially if that's a power cut, have you got enough cash on you at all times to pay for that? This is the thing. It's always a second too late, right, Brian?
100%, mate. What I would suggest to your partner is that it's a hobby for you. It makes you happy. If he feels it's overkill and paranoia, okay, but we all indulge hobbies that other people have got that we don't see any value in, but you put up with it for their happiness. This is the same. Sell it to him like that for you. It makes you happy. It gives you peace of mind. It gives you security. It's just another hobby. At some point, it may come round.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Brian. Yeah,
Yeah,
good point.
definitely. It's one of those things. It's sometimes you've got to prep for your family, and they won't get on board. But yeah, just constantly bang the drum. Unfortunately, is the only answer at the end of the day. On the holiday front, Barry, do you put any preps in place? I know you said you're very aware of the location, but does prepping come into your mind at all when taking a holiday? Like, should we take it because of the economic climate or what's going on in the world, or do you just go anyway?
To be honest, I think we'd probably go anyhow. Where we would go, we know that we've got access to accommodation, water. We know where various places where we could get supplies to if we needed to. And it's not that very well populated. So, less chance of screaming hordes knocking on your door, etc. It's something that is in the back of the mind all the time when we're over there as well. So,
yeah, Steve, does that come into play for holidays for you? Do you just be damned with the prepping and the risk and just go, or?
I inject some common sense into it. We don't travel abroad because our little one is just too young to do it, plain and simple. So when we do go on holiday, it's in Britain. I like to research where we're going. I don't obsess over like crime rates and things like this. I don't take holidays in major cities, but I like to know where we're going, how long, stops along the way. To me, it's just normal planning a journey. But I would say to anyone, for example, if you're taking your dogs with you, know where your nearest vet is going to be compared to your holiday accommodation, right? Because you might be a good dog owner, but the person goes, "Oh, he's friendly." Yeah, mine ain't. Or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Or they eat something they shouldn't have. Do you know what I mean? It smells good. We'll have a munch on this, and then it all goes downhill. Or knowing where the hospital. I mean, if you've got someone in your family that's diabetic or whatever, pick a medical condition. I think it's just good sense to know where a nearest facility is to deal with that potentially. That's how I see it. If somebody said to me, no, in fact, I did have a former acquaintance when the yellow shirt protests were going on in Paris a few years back. I want you to come with me and help me with this client. They live smack in the middle of Paris. Okay, what do we want to do? We want to do this, this, and this. How long are we going for? About 3 weeks. Well, that sounds lovely. 3 weeks in Paris. Hang on a minute. Every Friday, it's getting a bit nastier. Aren't they like dropping CS gas on the citizens? Yeah. And they live really close to that. Yeah. You know that price I said? Not even with 2 extra zeros on the end. Just find somebody else. So inject some common sense into it is what I would say to that.
Yeah.
You want to go on a backpacking trip through Afghanistan? Live streaming for us.
Get some good numbers. That could be the next charity thing I do, I suppose. Right.
Get your legs shaved on that one, mate.
Brian, going on holiday, when you're flying to a complete other country, other continent sort of thing, Was prepping in the back of your mind, or is it just a risk? Is it risk versus reward?
It is very much risk versus reward. We prep to maintain a quality of life if things go wrong, but don't let it overtake the fact that your quality of life's got to come first as well. You've got to have your holidays. You've got to live your life. Don't sit in a cupboard surrounded by tins of beans and never travel, right? So we went to America last year. Then we did a cruise. And then we're doing the same this year. We're going to back to America and then we're going to do another cruise. What bit us in the arse was that my son, when we were away, did a power cut. He didn't know how to use the house solar storage, battery storage. He didn't know how to switch on any power banks. So it was well provided for, right? But he couldn't work anything. So that was a major flaw in all the preps right there. Yeah.
Has that been rectified now?
Well, he's been shown, whether he remembers it or not, his limit is basically working a tin opener. I've reconciled to that.
Have you not got like an idiot's guide, a little pamphlet to leave for him or something like that, step by step?
He would forget where the book was, mate. Matt, do you know, but see, all kidding aside, another fear is if we're away and something really, really bad happened and the world was going to shit, they've got lots of, they're well provided for if we're not here. But I don't think he would have it in him to make tough choices. And I think it'd probably be taken off him in very short order because he's too kind-hearted.
Yeah, yeah. Taffy Nice says, wherever you are isn't knowledge power. Definitely. Monkey Wrench says, knowledge is also a tradable commodity. Definitely. And I think that's why one of the habits of neglecting skills for gear. So relying on fancy gear instead of developing essential survival skills. Now, we're not saying you all have to go out and be able to do primitive fire starting and stuff like that. If you've prepped 1,000 lighters, there's no point trying to rub two sticks together. But just general, survival skills and knowledge of your local knowledge for the area, which is what Dave, the urban survivalist, always used to bang on about. Having local knowledge is key. And if you're going on holiday somewhere and you're worried about it, then do the research on the local area, right? That's probably one step to mitigate that. If you've got any habits or anything you should think we should bring up, please pop it in the chat now before we get to the end. Not practicing or testing plans is a common bad habit for most preppers. Everyone's in theory, and theorizing is good, and sitting there and thinking about how it would pan out mentally is still a good step. It's better than not doing it at all. But actual practicing, Barry, do you practice anything or test any of the plans?
I do, with various degrees of success, because obviously that's when you find out that a particular bit of kit's missing or broken, or you've got too many items of the same bit of kit. I mean, for me, one of my things on the to-do list this year is foraging. I need to up my game on foraging. Definitely. I mean, I've got plenty of woods and everything around me, but knowing what's in those woods, that's a whole different ball game. So yeah, skills are definitely a must, and keeping on top of them. Yeah.
Steve, do you test any of your preps? Do you run any drills or anything like that? Practice anything?
I do quite often. It's when I'm away from home, because I can tell myself I'm getting it wrong. I don't need my wife to tell me. Yes, I said that. I knew I said that one out loud. If you're worried about communication in your household, anyone, you got youngsters or adults, whatever, if they're in love with their electronic devices, go flick that switch on the fuse box. You will have more communication than you know what to do with. You'll soon be up there flicking that baby right back on. But I do think it is important that don't worry yourself in the beginning. Like if you're new to doing it, if it's the first time you're doing it, don't worry about a total grid down collapse. Paratroopers from North Korea are in the sky. What are we gonna do? Be cool. Just start off with something small. Like we've run out of tea, right? That's a big enough emergency. Do you know what I mean? Start something small. Then get round the table and just be honest with each other. It's not like, oh, Dad's doing this, he must be perfect. No, Dad makes mistakes.
Mhm.
Mum tells him all the time. But if start with something small, plain and simple, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Cars. Pretend your car's outside your house and it's broken down. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Brian, you've practiced the blackout scenario at home. Actually managed to get the family on board to do that. How did that go down? And how was the convincing? How long did that take?
I'm quite an impulsive person, mate. If I decide something, I just go and do it. It's easy to ask forgiveness and permission, to be fair. And realistically, it made no difference to them whatsoever, because the minute I killed the mains incomer, everyone else just kicked in. So that was the hardest thing about making the video. Everything worked. So there was no shit, here we go, I'm sitting in the dark with a torch, nothing to do, we're playing Monopoly around a candle. It made no difference. The lights all stayed on, the power all stayed on, and it was bit content. So to make it 48 hours, they introduced power bank generators and stuff. So
Here's my blackout video with everything switched on, and I'm sat here.
it literally was like that the first 24 hours. So I thought, that's going to be a really bad video. So I went into showing, right, here's how a small power bank will power a TV. Here's how a bigger one will run a CPAP machine. That sort of shit.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to practice because, we keep going back to the Faraday cage one. We've all watched the same videos on, here's how to build a Faraday cage. Everything will be fine. That's a lie. It did not work.
The metal bin fresh from B&Q. That's it. You just put the lid on and off you go. Yeah.
Absolute tosh. I mean, I've got a square box full of cash that proves it was wrong. And you've got to try things. You've got to try it. You've got to see. I mean, when we talk on Discord, people say I'm going to buy a power bank. Yeah, well, don't leave it in the cupboard then. You've bought a solar panel. Stick it out in the garden and power your washing machine off it. Make it work for you. Make sure it works.
Yeah. Frugal living in France, Frugal Queen, who's been on the channel on the podcast before. She's got quite a big channel. She does that on a regular basis as a money saving thing. She'll charge the power banks through the solar and then do a full day of washing up and drying and stuff using the solar. So it's a money saving technique as well, which is good. I think practicing as well falls into the fitness one. Like when I did my walk, in my head, it's like, oh yeah, I did that when I was like 20. Not a problem. It's going to be a doddle. And you get sudden reality checks and blisters and pains and things like that. And then you think, hang on, how would I manage with a missus and kids in tow? So then you've got to adapt your plan to that. I think if you don't practice that plan that you think is written down perfectly, it's going to fail at the first step. Because that's what we can guarantee, right? Plans will fail.
Yeah.
In your head and in my head, you still think, oh, I'm 21. And then your knees turn around and say, the fuck you are. Right? No, you're not.
Yeah.
True story. So let's just have a quick look in the chat. Oh, yeah, there you go. Frugal Queen, as Miss Worm putting the channel on there. Thank you very much for that. If you guys spot any questions or anything, please shout up as well. But I don't think I've seen any as of yet. Tunnel vision, we kind of spoke on that, but that's a bad habit. Focusing too much on specific scenarios. It's a good way for people to get into prepping, right? Like, I mean, people know that Steve's already mentioned that I monitor the solar, but that's kind of what got me onto prepping. But if I only prepped for that, then I'd neglect a lot, right? So having tunnel vision on your scenario.
But would you though? If you let's think about it. If you get tunnel vision on a coronal mass ejection, all your prepping for that will cover 99% of all the other shit that would go wrong in the world. So
it's true. The core of prepping relatively stays the same. Yeah, we spoke about that.
If you're concentrating on one thing, whilst it's bad in principle, if you do it well, right? If you concentrate really well on one thing, in reality, for our point of view, it'll encompass most of the other horrible shit that could go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
However unlikely that is.
Yeah, so that might not be a bad habit as such, depending on what you're concentrating on, right? But if you're concentrating on nuclear war and you're getting gas masks and you're digging a bunker and stuff like that, but you live on a floodplain and you've not took any to that into account, you know, this is where you're just
I
digging yourself a
refer to-
downstairs swimming pool.
That's when I refer to the bit that says how well you do it.
Yeah.
You've built your bunker, you've got your gas mask, but you've not got as much as a tin of sausages in it.
Learner Prepper says you can get 3 washes at 30 degrees from an Efiri 2 kilowatt unit. There you go. Good to know. Good to know. Tunnel vision, Barry, have you suffered with that? Are you prepping just for one thing, or are you trying to keep it general?
No, while Brian was chatting, I was just trying to think actually what it was that sort of got me into prepping and when I kind of noticed it. And I can actually put it back to, I'm showing my age, 1976. Went to a little place in Wales known as the Centre for Alternative Technology.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's when the bug bit, because it's all solar powered. They process their own water, their own waste, etc. And I think that was kind of what sort of lit the touch fuse for me. And then after that, I sort of went and got John Seymour's self-sufficiency book, and that kind of built on that. I think it's been a slow progression over the years. And then, you know, you notice once you start going down the rabbit hole, you start noticing all the other things going on around you, read between the lines on the news, etc. And you do find yourself sort of prepping for not just one situation, but you start branching out into everything else. You know?
Yeah. Steve, what started you off on that journey? Were you hyper focused on one thing, or is it just general preparedness?
I think it was general preparedness. Well, at the beginning, because I allowed myself to get a bit overstimulated and swamped and all the rest until I had a little chat to myself. And then I literally just got a piece of paper, an A4 piece of paper, put it down in front of me, I put a dot right in the middle, and I just labeled it, that's me. What am I doing? What can I control about myself? And it was like, right, EDC, for example, everyday carry. What am I carrying? Well, I got my car keys, right? What else have we got? That's about it. Well, we need to change that a little bit. Don't walk out the door looking like a pack mule, but let's have a look at that, you know. And then it was, what do I keep in my vehicle? Not a lot. Right. Have you got roadside recovery? No. I've been driving 15 years. I've never needed it. And then one day I did. And I didn't have it. So that changed a bit quick. And it just, and then slowly just graduated out, you know, and from there really. And then eventually it was, right, what about food and water and tea and coffee and all that? Right, well, okay. But let's aim for a week's worth.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've got that. How much can I fit in here? This, that, and just injected common sense in it, and don't panic. Like, I can't control what happens 10,000 miles away of 2 or 3 countries kicking lumps out of each other. I can't do anything about that. But I can have more control over what I'm doing and what might send my day downhill a bit quicker. Wintertime, it'll be. It sounds awful. We had spring. I missed it. I was on the toilet. It was about 2 hours long. You're tired. How many times you drive around in winter and somebody's headlamp is out? Just one.
Yeah.
It's every flipping winter. But you can buy bulb kits. You can buy all your winterproofing at a fraction of the cost now. You know, tires ain't cheap. We know that. But start budgeting for them before you get stung for £150 tire or whatever it is. If you've got an electric car, you know, if you're not a real prepper and you've got an EV, it's like £200 a tire or more, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
No, it's free because it's a company car.
Oh, yeah.
You've got a log burner in your EV.
Yeah.
Have you got it? Like a camping going down the road or something.
There is actually a log burner in my EV. The EcoZoom is in the back for this week's camping, so it actually is a log burner in my EV. Thank you very much. Have to have jibes.
We're all kicking lumps out of each other. So look, I haven't got an EV. Right? I am flagship working class. I got a Ford Transit. You know, and there's no log burner on that. It's just smokes a lot. You know, just needs an oil change, or mainly when I slam my foot to the floor and I just roll it on coal out the back. You know.
Learner Prepper has a question. How far can each of you walk in a day? So this is obviously referring to the fitness side of things and bugging out plans. Brian, do you want to go first?
I consider it a great personal achievement just to reach the toilet in time at the top of the stairs, mate. My knees sound like a packet of Rice Krispies in the morning, or somebody's hitting crisp packets with a hammer. So I think the answer to that would be not very fucking far.
Have you tried? I mean, what kind of distance have you walked? Did you walk anywhere regularly? You must walk when you go on holiday, right?
Yeah, I mean, ironically, I climb cranes for a living, and test elevators, that sort of shit. But my personal fitness is for crap. It's bollocks. I'm carrying far too much weight. I've got no physical fitness, and my knees are shot. And that's down to poor lifestyle. I can make all the excuses I like. A big boy did it and ran away. It's my fault. My physical state at the moment is down to me. That's it in a nutshell.
Is the next prep not then a mobility scooter that you can mount a Delta 2 to the back of and get
with a log burner on it?
With a log burner.
The flashing lights and stuff and all sorts of streamers on the handlebars.
But it's got to have a DPM cover over the top of it as well.
Oh,
and
painted in DPM. Painted in DPM.
And it's the number plate's got to say Grift Life.
Yeah, exactly. But don't forget to get your stickers from the merch shop to put on it as well. Just throwing that out there.
Well, actually, the conversion is on the back of it. I'm going to get a gritter, right? A gritter for assembly off the back of one of the wagons, and inside it just put little YouTube stickers on it so that they can send me cash. I'll just spit these tokens out as I drive.
They scan and it goes straight to your PayPal on Cash
Yeah,
App.
just get a little code to scan, and it'll just come up saying you've given me Scottish Prepper 73 Grift Life hugged and kisses £5.
Grift Life sounds like a tattoo. In seriousness though, Barry, sorry. What's kind of distance can you walk in a day?
Well, I've just done a quick Google. If I go by what I sort of walk around at work during the 12-hour shift, that works out around about 6.5 miles. I think I could probably push myself to 7 or 8 miles for a day. But I mean, if I say 6.5 comfortably, then yeah, that's a ballpark for me.
Yeah. Steve?
Bimbling 10 miles is not a big problem. Let's be honest, because I'm not going to do I'm not going to do a forced march, am I? Let's be honest. And if you've got your get-home bag or whatever, depending on the weight, you're not going to put it on there and run for the next 12 hours. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just not. Like, even when I was like 18 and 19, I wasn't doing that. I had to stop for beer just to get 5 miles at that age. So, and if I was trying to get from work to home, first thing I'm going to do is look for my vehicle. But if I have to walk, depends on where the contract is. If I'm 150 miles from my house, that ain't happening in a day or two. Let's be realistic, right? That is going to be a horrible, horrible time, plain and simple. Just be realistic, Yeah. And I don't cycle. I don't. I'd cry if I tried to get on a bicycle now. One, because my bits would hurt and my knees would sing, right? They'd hit octaves that don't exist. So I wouldn't try to force myself because I've got to get up the next day and do it again. And in reality, if it was a horrible situation and you're 150 miles from your house for whatever reason, that's going to take you longer than a week. If you have to try and force march that 10 hours a day, forget trying to be stealth and all that, just straight down the motorway, you're going to be bits. You're going to be in bits.
Yeah,
fit career soldiers will admit that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can testament.
Brian's got a pearl of wisdom waiting to come out there. I can see that.
Yeah.
Before his pearl comes out,
that sounds so wrong. So wrong.
I obviously I did my charity walk thing, and that was a massive reality check for me. But I mean, at one point, I think the longest in a day was about 32 miles. And that was a killer. And then the next day was, my feet were in bits, like you say. There's a lot of motivation when you've got to get home, so you will be able to push through a lot of it. But you're right, if you want to make it 150 miles, you're going to be wanting to do 10 to 20 at the most before you stop in resting, regathering your energy and stuff like that. And if you are that far away and it's true Teotihuacan, you've got to think of scavenging. You are not going to be gun-ho on the motorway. You're going to have to be hiding a bit more stealth.
Imagine trying to carry a week's worth of food and you're trying to put in 20-mile walk a day. You're going to carry more than 2,500 calories a day. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how you do it. And I say if you've got an animal coming with you as well, you've got there's only so much. Even a dog that was bred for hauling, pulling, sledding, whatever. There's only so much they can carry, and that's if you've trained them.
Yeah.
Regardless of pulling a sled behind them and all the romantic notion, just putting the old pet's own doggy backpack on. You got to teach the thing, and then can't load it up with 100 kilos of dog food. So it sounds horrible, but you can call it scavenging, but you will quite simply be on the rob after day 5, right? Some poor bugger is going to be missing a bicycle. You're going to let the bike look out. You better get that in your house. I'm telling you, let's just be realistic. You are going to get to the point where you say, I bugger this white knight stuff. I'm getting home. It's on.
Yeah. That's got to be your priority. 100%.
If you leave the keys in your burger wagon, it's probably me that did it.
It's still there. He's just in there eating them.
Oh yeah.
He's driving. I'm in the back.
Thank you for the question, Learner Prepper. Did you want to have your pearl there, Brian? That you were itching?
No, you fucking ruined it, mate. You went off in a ramble and it's totally ruined now. It was a really good plot line. It was a fairly joke, and you just fucked it up.
My birthday's complete.
On the last can.
I won't come again. I'm sorry.
How many tins are you on a day now, Brian? That's what this worm's asked.
I've been quite bad. This is my third since the podcast started.
The wagon is a dot.
You're normally on your third carrier bag, but a month ago you're on your third carrier bag by this point.
I know I've been cutting back, but I've not been good for the last week.
Bad habits. Don C says charging power banks. There you go. Yeah, mine are all charged. Thank you, Don. Trini Weenie, is it true that you can make solar panel using old CDs? Brian?
Not unless it's in TikTok.
I'm not sure how that would actually work.
I don't remember it being a topic when I was at college, mate. I've got to be honest, making CDs. Although, having said that, when I first started college, there was no CDs. So,
Mike, you can come here and keep fit cutting logs for your non-existent log burner. Thank you, Jay. I've done Telford to Cheshire only a couple of times, nearly 50 miles. Fastest time was 14 hours 5. Wow. Fair play, Lewis. Good going, that one.
That was a half marathon.
Yeah. Philip says, I do 20 to 30,000 steps in a normal walking day, plus the dog walking either side. Far distance, but not amazing. Add weight of bags, etc., and it gets interesting. But this is why we try things, right? This is why you should test it all. I don't know what that C word's supposed to be, but obviously it's.
I know.
Just trying to get to the bottom of the comments here. It's curry. What do you think the next Black Swan event will be, and how do you prepare for civil unrest if you live in the city? Ooh, interesting. Who would like to go? Any volunteers? Brian, it's you.
So what are we calling a Black Swan event then? Just so I'm getting it right in my head.
A big event that could trigger something larger scale, like right. we're talking the towers and stuff like that, where people think it's a conspiracy or it's done by their own side, etc. Blah 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 blah.
So like a false flag thing.
Yeah.
To incite a response, right? How do you prepare for civil unrest if you live in a city? Decide early on whether staying in the city is even viable before your option to escape is taken away from you. That's the best thing I can think in that situation. Make a judgment call in good time whether you can remain safely where you are, and that's going to be using common sense, situational awareness, knowing your area, and being realistic. Look, how far to shit has this situation got? Is it on my doorstep yet? Do I need to get out of here? And do it before it's too late. Or risk assess it. You might be able to stay in situ, getting in concert with your other neighbours, and protecting your local area.
Yeah, building that community from the very beginning. No thoughts on the Black Swan event?
I'm not one for conspiracy theories, to be honest, but what I would say is people have got a habit of hijacking situations for their own agenda. So it could be something innocuous and it gets taken by a political party or a viewpoint to... I mean, people just like to cause shit. Like we've said a million times, there could be some poor bugger gets ran over and it gets taken into something out of context. The next minute, the lights are out, somebody's walking through the high street with a TV and there's no power.
Yeah.
People like to cause shit.
Yeah. Steve, have you got an answer for this one for Camping Kings?
To be honest, I would look at where the mainstream media is pushing the narrative. I mean, it changes on a daily basis, let's be honest. But if it's not banging the war drums, it's, we're all going to run out of water and all the rest of it. That would be a slight indicator to me. But it's not, right now in Britain, it's not difficult to incite a scrap. It's really not difficult. It's just, I won't say the slightest things, but it doesn't take much. What bugs me is when they start smashing up Greggs. You're nicking cold pasties. Nobody goes on the Rob's Nick workbooks, though, do they? Do you know what I mean? Nobody's in there nicking steel toe cap Timberlands and Caterpillar boots. Let's nick a TV and pasties. But in all honesty,
it's when in that same riot they were robbing shoes on, where shoes on shoes are like £1. Why are you robbing them?
Shoes on. I mean, the things would be like a flappy sole on the boot by the end of the week. You're better off nicking some Gorilla Glue to stick them all back together. Brian be into the Pepsi or whoever, Brit Vic, back of one of the Brit Vic vans or whoever makes it. He'd be in there. To me, I couldn't put my finger on a specific one thing that will set off a bigger thing, because the internet's a double-edged sword. It can be half a dozen tweets or whatever they call it now on X. I don't use it, but and then boom, you've got 5,000 Urks in the they call them hoodies still, whatever. They look like Ewoks to me. They're in there smashing a place up because some knucklehead with a couple of million followers said something daft, while he was sat on the toilet this morning. So I can't put my finger on one specific thing, but what I would say to myself, if I lived in a very urban environment, what's my cutoff point that I'm going, and have multiple ways of getting out? Because mass gatherings, call it whatever you want, but mass amounts of people can shut off streets and avenues of escape so fast, quicker than the old bill can get there. And we've seen that because they can't monitor everything and they haven't got the bods to do it. They just haven't got it. So they have to put their resources where they think it's best served for whatever. So
all about risk assessment then.
Yeah, but don't walk around crapping your pants at everything in the shadows. Just stay, keep your ear to the ground, but get on with your life and say, well, look at that lot going over there. Well, I'll go in that direction. Inject common sense. And don't smash up Greggs. Do something else.
Leave Greggs alone. That's
Greggs.
the message of the night. Leave Greggs alone.
Just have a bit of class. Smash up M&S.
See,
this
if
is
Dave
not
was on tonight, he'd be going bananas. Don't smash up Waypoint.
This is not just rioting. This is M&S rioting.
Outside the front door with a bat in his hand. Leave my waitrose alone, you village scum!
Barry, have you got an answer for this one? Black Swan event, and how do you prepare for civil unrest in the city?
I think, to be honest, we'll probably walk into a Black Swan event and not even know it, because there's so much going on at the moment from all corners of the globe. That we're kind of being trickle fed into it. So I mean, how do you prepare for something that you're already in, so to speak? I've got to agree with what both the guys have been saying. You know, if you can see something happening over there, you want to be going in that direction, definitely. I mean, as you know, my first thoughts are stay put. And see how close it gets to the front door before it's right. Now it's time to go. Bugging out for me is the last resort. So, yeah,
I think it is for a lot of us. But you've got to assess that situation before it's at the front door, and you've no way to get out. That's the big thing. So thank you for the question, Camping Kings. Thought-provoking, definitely, I'm sure, for a lot of people in here. Philip Hull, very practical with it, said civil unrest in city, security film for windows, barricade methods, stockpile. Excuse me. Black Swan event is Brian not getting his Pepsi, says Evil Girl. Mel said, how's your fitness training coming on for your Help for Heroes doing, Mike? It's going all right, actually, and it's going to have to be more so because me moving house means it's an extra 10 miles on the distance now, so that was well thought out, wasn't it? Thank you for that. You guys on the panel, anything else for prepper bad habits or common mistakes that you can think of that you want to bring up?
Assumptions.
Oh, assumptions.
Assumptions is such a big thing that we all do. We assume higher levels of fitness than we've got. We assume everybody else will be able to keep up, or we'll be able to keep up with them.
Yeah.
We assume that everybody's going to eat you, and then something goes bad. And we also assume that everybody's a nice person. So that there's a lot of problems. Not fucking time watching. Well, thanks very much.
I think these are the faces. These are the faces you see on Crime Watch, not the ones talking about the criminals.
If you see this face at your window, a simple hello, you make it awkward for everybody. If I'm sitting there looking in the window when you're unsure, just wave.
Just wave.
But no, that's my thing. Assumptions. You assume everybody's going to kill you, or everybody's a good person, or you try and be realistic.
Yeah. Monkey Wrench said, I've drilled a hole in the concrete floor in front of every exterior door. I have a 10mm steel rod to fit in the hole to slow down the process of kicking the doors in. It's a good prep, especially if it's under the carpet and you can just lift it back and drop it in. It's not a bad shout, to be fair. Good idea that. Steve, Barry, have you got anything to add for the bad habits or anything like that?
Assuming you know where everything is at the start, as soon as everything kicks off, if you need to go and get something to head out the door with and you can't find it, that's slowing you down. That's costing you valuable time. Know where your preps are. Yeah,
bad habits are buying things, putting it at the bottom of a tote and knowing you have it somewhere, right?
Yes.
I would say There we go again. In all honesty, I would say using things and not replacing them.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be raiding your food cupboards. It could be, I was looking for a torch the other day or whatever, and you go and get it wherever you keep it, and you don't put it back.
Yeah.
I think we've all done that at some point. And keeping an eye on your various stock levels of whatever you've got, because it's easy to just let it whittle down and not put it back. It's very easy to do that. But again, like Brian was saying, don't assume everybody's lovely, because when the lights are on and everything's great, that's wonderful. But people's true personalities come out when the pressure's on.
We saw it in Spain, right?
Yeah.
We've seen it in Spain. We've seen it a couple of years ago with various medical things going on. When we were told when we were allowed to walk the dog. I had 3. And not to drag it up, but it was love thy neighbour and go and help Doris and get Gladys's prescription. And 2 weeks later, it was Home Secretary sitting there telling you to grass people up because they've gone for 2 walks in a day. And you'd have people quitting the curtains. And you're like,
Aye.
so hang on, we've still got all the food on the shelves, the electricity's still going, your bills are still coming out of your bank, so it isn't that freaking bad. And you're doing this. Yeah, look at him, he's gone for a walk 3 times. How are you going for walks? I've got 3 dogs. I'm doing what the government told me I'm allowed to. I'm just walking them in one at a time, But the pressure was on, regardless of what you think of that shenanigans. When the pressure's on, real personalities come out. And sadly, if someone thinks you've got more than them and you're not willing to share it for whatever reason, they can personality can really change.
Yeah.
That if they live right next door to you or across the street, because people memory like a goldfish. When it's all done a week later, oh yeah, how are you?
Hunger and desperation.
Your shed, by the way.
Hunger and desperation can change people a lot, right? And
yep,
because they're going to be feeling the same thing we're all feeling, just without the supplies.
The stops very quickly.
Yes. Assuming everything you hear on the media or social media is true. Definitely, and we preach it all the time that none of us are experts on here. We've all got our little bits of insight and bits of knowledge and our own experience, but take everything with a pinch of salt and do your own research on absolutely everything. So it's a good point. Thanks for bringing that up.
Fear spiral.
You what?
The fear spiral. Prepping and prepper channels in general. It is so easy to get dragged into the fear spiral and actively looking for the next horror show that something's going to go wrong. I mean, this week alone, we've probably all died 10 times between all the different channels, right? It's the boy that cried wolf blasted in your face 24/7. That's not good for your mental health, that shit.
No.
It's really not. So try not to get hung up on the fear spirals that are out there. There's a lot of bad shit in the world, but there's a lot of good stuff as well. But it's like I understand why. It's like a hole in your tooth. You keep watching it, right?
Yeah.
Sooner or later, that's going to drag you down.
No, you've got to be able to mentally filter out what you need. You can watch some of these channels by all means, and I've done news bits and I've done things on stuff that's going on in the world and in videos, but you've got to be able to take out the knowledge you need that affects you without spiraling, like you say. It's when it's all doom and gloom, it's just going to depress you,
Because you know what? The sun still comes up to the next day.
Until it doesn't, Brian. Until it doesn't.
All right. There's a certain channel that'll put a video out to let us know it's not.
Yeah. he'll monetize said video.
Yes.
But you know the thing is, even way. Sorry, mate. On you go.
And you can prepare for that by buying loads of stuff in his shop. Yeah, I'm sure I can. Whatever.
You can help the channel by helping yourself. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. At an extortionately expensive rate. But yeah, Brian's right. Two massive things that sell me, not newspapers. Oh, far now, things that sell newspapers. Fear and sex sell massively, and the world of algorithms will keep feeding it to you. It will not stop and say, "Are you sure you want to keep watching this shite? You're 8 hours in. It'll keep feeding you. It wants you to keep clicking on stuff." So he's right. Sometimes you've just got to say, "Off. That's enough now. That's enough internet for today. I'm off."
I think YouTube should Maybe YouTube should have an algorithm, like if you've watched 3 fear porns, you have to watch like fluffy kittens or cute animals for a video. Then
Is this like the email I sent to Bezos and I got another one back saying, don't send me ideas again, like attaching a breathalyzer tube to your laptop when you're on Amazon. So, you know, because he didn't like that idea.
No.
No drunken shopping on Amazon. It's not allowed.
Yeah.
It's right. It's so easy to do. It's so easy to do, and even if you don't bother going down internet wormholes, just sitting there watching the TV, the news on the TV, you know, it'll tell you we got no water left in England. Okay, then it'll tell you that next week it's going to smash it down, but on Thursday it's going to snow.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same channel. It's just 3 hours apart. What the fuck? Who's writing this shit? There's a Joker somewhere. The Joker's escaped. He's escaped from Arkham, and he's having a right good laugh. But it's crazy. It's just mental. And I think, okay, if you think you're going to get snowed in next week, after the drought, and before we all boil alive, because 25 degrees wasn't red on the weather 20 years ago, it was green because it was lovely and sunny. Just calm down. Just cool it. Just calm down. You'll be all right.
Here's the problem, and this is the big problem, the elephant in the room. It sells. People actually want that. I've got less than 2,000 subscribers, largely because I'm lazy, but I try not to promote fear content. And yet, I know, hand on heart, if I started doing the end of the world is nigh sort of shit, the channel would grow exponentially. I've no interest in doing that. But the reason it is popular is because people want to see it. They want that aspect of, because it's exciting to an extent. Oh no, something's bad happening. Tell me more. And then you're sitting there with your little backpack from TeamU thinking, great, with the Rocky tune playing in your headphones, fuck the neighbours, I'll be okay, right? This is great. Bring on the apocalypse. Sitting there with crisps on your crumb catcher for a belly, bringing on the end of the world. It's nonsense.
I think it has its place, right? So I'm not defending it totally, but
Are you talking about fear porn or are you talking about Timu? Because this is getting really ugly in a minute.
both.
Have you not seen Mike's OnlyFans channel? It's like a prepper channel and a porn channel all rolled into one. It's just him in a thong and a gas mask.
No, it's not. Bill, for the next episode, for episode Crime Dropped, thank you, Emma. Appreciate that. Probably is going to need it. And XP, thank you. Question everything mainstream media tells you. Thank you for that one, which is interesting because one of the prepper bad habits that came up was avoiding real world news. So relying completely on the fear porn and the prepper forums and stuff like that for all your news, right? Because I mean, you should still keep an eye on the mainstream media, because if it's a catastrophe, it's not going to play out like a Hollywood film. It's going to be, you're going to be able to read between the lines, and that's a source of intel. So I definitely think you shouldn't avoid mainstream media, but question everything it tells you is a good point from XP there. And I do think the fear stuff has its place, because as sad as it is, if we just go out all nicey trying to convince people you need to prep just for the sake of prepping, it'll fall on deaf ears. If there's a bit of fear in there, I know just a bit of it, they might think, oh, I best do that just in case. You know what I mean? There's got to be a just in case. There's got to be a scenario that they can play out that makes them start prepping, right?
Wait to see my next video, then it'll be catastrophe. There's no Pepsi. The world's going to that shit. We're all going to die. I'm just kidding. Here's some sausages that are dehydrated.
That's it. That's the entire video. You don't even have to watch it now. He's just played it all out.
True story. That is pretty much what the next video is going to be.
It's a YouTube short. It's a 10-second clip. Job done.
So if you want to see Brian's Pepsi and his dehydrated sausages, make sure you go and subscribe to his channel.
Sounds so wrong.
That sounds, yeah.
So wrong, but he just gained 12 subs.
For people who are willing to settle a lot less.
Bad news sells, doesn't it? Says Taffy Nige. Indeed it does. That's the thing. Wait, this is not your World War Day X update. I don't know what you're talking about. We're not slating any particular channels here whatsoever. Steve is suffering. He ran out of his Pepsi Max and having to drink Tango Strawberry Smash, says Jen.
That'll be my wife. And guess what? Look, darling, I've got another one.
We're going to have to have an intervention.
Hold on, Brian. Before we get violent and start kicking lumps out of each other, I have this to counteract the effects.
Oh, a man of taste.
This all falls into the health and fitness we spoke about earlier, people.
But it's only one box, though.
You get one box, that's it. Just because there's 10 of them in there. That's not my problem.
There was 10 of them in there. I only saw about 3.
If they didn't want you to eat 10 of them, why put 10 in one box? If you only want to eat one, they just sell them as singular things. This is
I
why.
can't argue with the logic. The system works.
Logic. Yeah.
That's Brian's logic with 24 cases of Pepsi Max. That's the problem.
A week supply.
Right, so before we end, Barry, can you tell us all about the Brown Coat Prepper UK channel and what's going on over there?
Yeah, so I sort of set up the channel to promote stuff from the novice preppers side of things, getting started, and my experiences along the way. The current one, which is being produced at the moment, is to do with the fiasco of having to cope with home life versus prepper life versus storage and all the fun that entails, as you'll know, Mike.
Indeed. Excellent. So make sure you go and check out Barry over on the Brown Coat Prepper UK channel and follow his prepping journey. Brian, tell us all about the polished pitch of Scottish Prepper 73.
The polished turd that is known as my channel. Right, okay.
You can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter.
I talk a lot of crap predominantly about things to do with the power grid, either going down and or how to mitigate its effects if it does go down, whether it's a short-term or long-term duration. Next video is going to be on freeze-dried food from the States, which is freeze-dried scrambled eggs and freeze-dried sausages. So I'm halfway through making that at the moment. So that'll be the next one.
Eating it.
I've eaten the eggs. The sausages took a lot longer to absorb water than I thought. I left them for half an hour and they were like chalk sticks. So they're now soaking for 24 hours.
Good bit of
But
advice.
the eggs were good.
Steve, you're not got a YouTube channel at the moment, but would you tell the people about the Discord?
The Discord is for winners. If you're not in there, you're a loser. There you go. No, in all honesty, the Discord, because I'm new to using it, because if I didn't need to use a smartphone for a living, it would be in the river. But you got your. It's split into two sections. So you got your free stuff for public information, and we do lots on there anyway. So we don't try to hide stuff behind a paywall to get anything, right? And it's not an astronomical paywall, was it? I think it's
not even a paywall now. It's just they've got to apply an email and stuff.
Right, there you go. Look, I'm so savvy, right, with Discord. I got that wrong. But we have a good old laugh in there. There's a funny joke section. There's what grinds my gears, and there's loads of other stuff about off-grid projects and questions that we're doing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we might post other links to other people's videos, but a lot of it is stuff we're doing ourselves and books. Not just us four now. I'm talking it's over 200 members on it now.
Yeah.
Of people recommending various books, growing methods, what flowers they grow in, herbal remedies, but it's stuff people have done themselves. So instead of posting 500 videos, well, have you done it? No. Well, come on. So it's real people, and it's not filled with buy my crowd.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
That's really it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although Mike is ruthless when his car insurance needs paying next month about selling stickers and all the rest of it, right? He's ruthless. He won't leave you. Look, Barry succumbed to it, but there, look. He's
Not just Barry. What's on the back of your van?
You leave my van alone. Rust probably.
That's a load bearing sticker.
Yes.
It's
It
structural.
needs help. But we have a right good laugh in it. It is very informal, very informative. And it doesn't matter where you are in your experience, prepping journey or budget. It doesn't matter to any of us. We're there to help each other out. That's really what it is.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Steve. Couldn't have sold that better myself. 100%. Thank you to everyone who's give the super chats tonight. They are really appreciated, and the birthday messages. It's this community's made my birthday so much better. It's been awesome. So it wouldn't be the same without it. So thank you very much for all of that. All my links are usually below or in another video, so I don't need to plug any of that crap. Brian's desperate to say something sarcastic. I can see it in his face.
Wow, I feel attacked and judged. I was just going to make an innocent comment, right? That you've not eaten your birthday cake yet.
It's probably gone. Mrs.
It's
Open
gone.
Breakfast probably said, I'm going to go into a wrapper and 5 candles. That's what I'm going to go into.
You walk into the living room and she'll be sitting there with a face full of chocolate going, I'm sorry, I have a moment of weakness. Just candles.
As long as she's not at the candles, we're okay. We're not at that stage yet.
Bring the man his cake, you monster.
Right. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure. Barry, would you like any final thoughts and say goodbyes?
Thanks, guys, for a very entertaining evening again. And as well, everybody that's taken the time to pass a comment, etc., in the comment section. Been brilliant reading some of these. And thank you to Miss Worm for organising your little surprise gifts for us on our behalfs. And hope you enjoy the rest of your birthday, mate. Yes,
There you go.
yes. Very good.
The ASMR podcast is brought to you.
I'm not being funny. It sounds pretty shit quality, that mic.
That's just my voice, mate.
Sounded like Darth Vader with a bad case of asthma.
Good old team.
Steve, any final thoughts?
No, in all honesty, just stay safe, prep on. Just take each day that comes. Don't hide under the bed, because you'll find a grifter under there. All camouflaged up. Oh, I knew it was going to come out. But just be cool. Don't panic, and just enjoy life. You know, prepping is something that we do, but we still have lives, we still have families, and enjoy it. That's it.
Excellent, thank you. Brian, what's going on with your light, and any final thoughts and goodbye?
That's the second fucking light I've replaced up there. Right? I swear to God. The first one did the same, and that's the second one doing the same. So I suspect a change of lighting is going to be in order. They're brand new. That one's only been up 2 weeks, and the one before it was up a week. So
maybe you've not got enough power banks for them. Just throwing it out there.
I think I'm all right, mate. I'm okay. I'll be fine.
There'll be a link in the comments section a minute now of his latest sale from Amazon. That's what he's going to segue into now.
Pretty fancy getting the Delta R3 Pro though. Hopefully around about July I'll be getting one of them to try out. She's still on the channel. Hopefully not. But it's a bargain. The bargain, darling. Yes. No, last thoughts. It always blows me away to see we've got over 100 people in the chat on a Sunday night. Haven't you got lives? I mean, come on. There must be
Shut
something
up,
better to do. Right. See you later. Thank you much, Lee.
Yep. Thank you very much, guys, and thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you, Miss Worm, our awesome moderator. Don't forget to go and check out her channel as well. Published author. Go and check out her book on Amazon. She'll post the links for that as well at the end. So thank you for everything she does, and the other moderators in there giving her a hand doing so. And the ones that are slacking because they've come on the fireside instead of moderating. Thanks very much, guys. Goodbye.
See ya.
Round the fire, warm and bright, stocked up food for the night. Got our plans set in gold for the days when it's cold. Tools and gear stacked up high in the cabin we reside, listening to the winds howl, prepping for the morning's prowl. At the purpose fireside we stay, ready for that fateful day. Stories shared and hearts alight, round the fire every night. Water stored in jugs and tins, bunkered down through thick and thin. Maps and routes all drawn and laid, preppers live unafraid. At the purpose fireside we stay, ready for that fateful day. Stories shared and hearts alight, round the fire every night. In the glow of embers dance, we've prepared for every chance, living simple, living true, with the dream we all pursue.